Fermentation is like magic. It transforms food in amazing ways using tiny living things called microbes. These microbes eat sugars and starches and they produce acids and gases. These acids and gases give fermented foods their unique flavors. Think of yogurt, cheese, and sourdough bread. These are all fermented foods made with the help of microbes. Fermentation has been around for ages. People have been fermenting food for thousands of years as a way to preserve food before refrigerators were around. Not only does fermentation make food last longer, but it also adds amazing flavors. And fermented foods are good for you too. They contain probiotics, which are good bacteria that help your gut stay healthy. A great example of fermented food is kimchi, a Korean staple made with vegetables like cabbage and radishes and known for its spicy and tangy flavors. Kimchi is easy to make at home, and you don't need fancy equipment. Let's dive into the world of fermentation and make some delicious kimchi. Making kimchi doesn't require a lot of special equipment. You probably already have most of what you need in your kitchen. First, you'll need a large bowl for mixing and massaging your kimchi. A glass jar or ceramic crock is ideal for fermenting. Just choose a size that fits comfortably in your refrigerator. You'll also need a small plate that fits inside the jar to help keep the kimchi submerged in its brine. A weight, like a small jar filled with water, is helpful to keep the plate down. Finally, gather measuring cups and spoons, a sharp knife, and a cutting board. The base of kimchi is usually Napa cabbage, which is ideal for its crunchy texture. You can also add other vegetables like radishes, carrots, or cucumbers. The flavor of kimchi comes from a blend of spices and seasonings. Garlic, ginger, gochugaru, Korean red pepper flakes, and fish sauce are common ingredients. Gochugaru gives kimchi its signature color and spiciness, and you can adjust the amount to your liking. Fish sauce adds a savory depth of flavor. If you prefer a vegetarian option, you can use soy sauce or seaweed instead. Feel free to experiment with other spices like turmeric, cumin, or even fruit like apples or pears. Let's get started with making kimchi. First, prepare your cabbage. Cut the cabbage into quarters, remove the core, and then chop the cabbage into bite-sized pieces. Place the chopped cabbage in your large bowl. Sprinkle salt over the cabbage and gently massage the salt into it. You'll notice the cabbage starts to soften and release water. This is what you want. Let the cabbage sit for a couple of hours. This will allow the cabbage to wilt and create a flavorful brine. While the cabbage is wilting, prepare your kimchi paste. In a food processor or blender, combine the garlic, ginger, gochugaru, fish sauce, and any other spices you're using. Blend until you have a smooth paste. You can adjust the amount of liquid to your liking. Once the cabbage has wilted, rinse it well under cold water. This will remove excess salt. Squeeze out as much water as possible. Add the kimchi paste to the cabbage. Mix well, making sure all the cabbage is coated in the paste. Now it's time to pack the kimchi into your jar. Press the kimchi mixture tightly into the jar. Leave about an inch of space at the top. Pour the remaining brine from the bowl over the kimchi. Make sure the kimchi is completely submerged in the brine. Place the small plate on top of the kimchi. Add your weight to the plate. This will help keep the kimchi submerged and prevent mold growth. Seal the jar loosely with a lid. This allows gases to escape during fermentation. Place your jar of kimchi in a cool, dark place. Room temperature is fine. Let it ferment for at least 3 days. You can ferment it longer for a stronger flavor. Taste the kimchi after a few days. It's ready when it's tangy and has a pleasant sourness. Once the kimchi is fermented to your liking, transfer it to the refrigerator. This will slow down the fermentation process. Kimchi can be stored in the refrigerator for several months. The flavor will continue to develop over time. Kimchi is just the beginning of your fermentation journey. There's a whole world of fermented foods to explore. Why not try making sauerkraut, pickles, or yogurt? Each fermented food has its unique flavor and benefits. Fermentation is a fun and rewarding process. It connects you to ancient food traditions. It's a great way to add flavor and nutrition to your diet. So don't be afraid to experiment and try new things. Congratulations on taking your first steps into the world of fermentation. Making kimchi is easier than you think. With a few simple ingredients and some patience, you can create delicious and healthy fermented food at home. Remember, fermentation is a process. It takes time for the flavors to develop. Don't be discouraged if your first batch isn't perfect. Every batch is a learning experience. Enjoy the journey and the delicious rewards of fermentation. If anyone knows about fermentation, it is definitely this guy, Sandor Alex Katz. He is a fermentation revivalist and the author of the award-winning book, The Prepper's Canning and Preserving Bible and the Art of Fermentation. He has taught thousands of people how to ferment food and beverages. He believes that fermentation is a powerful tool for personal and planetary health. So if you want to learn more about fermentation, visit Sandor Alex Katz's website or subscribe to his newsletter for recipes, tips, and inspiration. Join the fermentation revolution and discover the magic of transforming food with microbes. You've made kimchi. Let's try your hand at another fermented food. Up next is a detailed demonstration of making fermented pickles. In this chapter, we'll walk you through the step-by-step process of creating delicious fermented pickles right at home. First, let's gather our ingredients. You'll need fresh cucumbers, non-iodized salt, water, garlic, dill, and optional spices like mustard seeds, peppercorns, or chili flakes for added flavor. Next, prepare your brine by dissolving 2 tablespoons of non-iodized salt in 4 cups of water. Stir well until the salt is completely dissolved. Now wash your cucumbers thoroughly and cut off the blossom end, as it contains enzymes that can soften the pickles. You can leave the cucumbers whole, cut them into spears, or slice them into rounds, depending on your preference. Place your cucumbers into a clean jar, layering them with garlic cloves, dill sprigs, and any optional spices you like. Pour the brine over the cucumbers, ensuring they are fully submerged. You can use a fermentation weight or a clean stone to keep them under the brine. Cover the jar with a loose lid or a cloth secured with a rubber band to allow gases to escape during fermentation. Place the jar in a cool, dark place like a pantry or cupboard and let it ferment for 3 to 7 days. Check daily to ensure the cucumbers remain submerged and to skim off any surface mold if necessary. After 3 days, taste your pickles. If they have reached your desired level of tanginess, transfer them to the refrigerator to slow down the fermentation process. If not, let them ferment for a few more days, tasting daily. Voila! You've made your own fermented pickles. Enjoy them as a snack, in sandwiches, or as a side dish. Fermented pickles are not only delicious, but also good for your digestive system. This is just another one of the many great for your gut foods. Our last fermented food we are going to teach you how to make is fermented sauerkraut. In this demonstration, we'll provide a comprehensive guide to making sauerkraut, from selecting the right cabbage to the fermentation process and storage tips. First, let's gather our ingredients. You'll need a fresh, firm head of cabbage, non-iodized salt, and optional spices like caraway seeds or juniper berries for added flavor. Begin by removing the outer leaves of the cabbage and setting them aside. These will be used later to cover the sauerkraut. Cut the cabbage into quarters and remove the core. Then, slice the cabbage into thin shreds. Place the shredded cabbage into a large mixing bowl and sprinkle it with 1 to 2 tablespoons of non-iodized salt. The salt will help to draw out the cabbage's natural juices and create the brine. Massage the cabbage with your hands for about 5-10 minutes until it becomes soft and releases liquid. If you choose to add spices, mix them in at this stage. Caraway seeds and juniper berries are traditional choices that add a unique flavor to the sauerkraut. Next, transfer the cabbage and its juices into a clean fermentation jar or crock. Pack it down firmly with your fist or a tamper to remove any air pockets. The cabbage should be completely submerged in its own brine. If there isn't enough liquid, you can add a small amount of salted water, 1 teaspoon of salt per cup of water. Take the reserved outer leaves and place them on top of the shredded cabbage to keep it submerged. Use a fermentation weight or a clean stone to hold everything down. Cover the jar with a loose lid or a cloth secured with a rubber band to allow gases to escape during fermentation. Store the jar in a cool, dark place, such as a pantry or cupboard, and let it ferment for 1 to 4 weeks, depending on your taste preference. Check the sauerkraut daily to ensure it remains submerged, and skim off any surface mold if necessary. After about a week, start tasting your sauerkraut. When it reaches the desired level of tanginess, transfer it to the refrigerator to slow down the fermentation process. You've made your own fermented sauerkraut. Enjoy it as a side dish, in sandwiches, or as a topping for sausages. Consider subscribing to our channel and liking our videos. Your continued support will help our new channel grow. Thank you for joining us on this fermentation journey. Happy fermenting and thank you for watching.